And you're going to mute. Okay, so hey guys, just to let everybody know, Sherry will be muting everyone so we do not have any interruptions or background noise during this. So just a little good housekeeping, that's all. But so thank you and welcome to our virtual event for athletes. Tonight you're going to hear from 4 people on how to fuel, protect, and recover your most valuable asset, which is your body. So we will have a mom to a professional athlete that is a certified health coach and personal trainer, a fitness instructor with a bachelor's degree in nutrition, a professional pitcher, and a mother, and another mother will share her journey on raising a professional athlete. So we're just going to go ahead and jump right in and get started because we want to be aware of everybody's time. And anyway, so Sherry's going to go ahead and start us off. Go ahead, Sherry.
And I was muted again. Sorry, guys. I just want to thank Megan for having, for the introduction, and thank all of you for being on here tonight. Just like Megan said, I am a mom of a professional athlete, but also of 4 other athletes as well. And I myself was a collegiate athlete at one time. And one of the things that I'm really passionate about is helping athletes of all ages stay healthy so that they can do the things that they love, which is to perform. And growing up with all of our children when they were growing up, one of the things that my husband and I would always tell our kids was that they had 2 things that they could control in their life. And the first thing was their attitude, and the second thing was how hard they tried. And although I totally 100% still believe that to this day, there was actually a third component that we should have been focusing on. And that third component is why you are all here tonight. And it's the things that we put into our body. So it's your attitude, how hard you try, and it should have also included what are you eating? How are you treating your body? And as athletes, I know that you are all incredibly dedicated people. You have made sacrifices for years. I'm sure that every one of you can relate to being in high school and not getting to go to the things that your friends were going to because you had practice or a game, or the number of summer vacations that were spent on a football field, baseball field, or a basketball court, and your friends were spending time on the beach and having a great time. You made those sacrifices. And not only was it the sacrifices that you made, it's what you did because you were all in pursuit of what you truly love to do. And you were pursuing your dreams of being a professional athlete. And even if this is something that you're listening to as a young athlete, always wanting to get to the next level means you're making those sacrifices. But the biggest thing that I want to really talk about tonight is no matter how hard you're working, no matter how many hours you're putting in, what you really need to also be focusing on is what are you putting into your body? Because if you're not putting the right things into it, all that practice is for nothing because you have to be healthy. So that's really where we're going to get started. What I want you to think about, I actually asked one of my boys right before we got started tonight, I said, tell me what would be your ultimate favorite dream car? And he said a Ford Raptor or a Maserati. So we're going to go with the Maserati real quick. And I've actually done this talk, something similar to this with some high school athletes once. And I said to them the same question, like, what's your dream car? And it was kind of fun, but I think 80% of the guys all said Maseratis. But I asked them, like, what do you have to put into that Maserati to make it run? And like, well, gasoline. I said, but what kind of gasoline? Like, are you going to go and just put in the unleaded, or are you going to go put in the premium plus? I'm like, well, you've got to put in premium plus. I said, so what happens if you don't? They said, well, your engine's going to die. I said, exactly. That's what's happening with your body. Your body is this incredible machine that needs to be treated like that Fortune huge, amazing Maserati that you're all talking about. You have to be able to take care of your body and put in the right things. So as an athlete, or actually anyone for that matter, there's something that goes on inside of us all the time, and it's called oxidative stress. It's a natural recurring thing that takes place, and it's just the breakdown of your cells. And it's so natural that every time you inhale or exhale, you're creating oxidative stress. It's a natural part of life. And the really cool thing is that your body can combat just that normal level of oxidative stress. But what happens is the more oxidative stress you have, your body starts to break down. And athletes have a tremendous amount of oxidative stress. I mean, just think about your normal breathing What happens when you're running down the base, or what happens when you're sprinting down the football field or the basketball court or whatever sport you're involved in? You have more oxidative stress than the normal average person. So it's not just the exercise that's giving you more, but there's so many other things. Lack of sleep will cause more and quicker oxidative stress breakdown. And I know, based off of my own family's experience with sports and athletes, is that you're not getting the required amount of sleep, especially if you're on the professional level where you are leaving the ball field or the court so late at night and riding a bus to get somewhere. You're not getting the required amount of sleep, which means your body is under even more stress. It's the air that we breathe. It's the processed foods that we eat. All of those things contribute to oxidative stress. So just imagine, if you would, a car that has some rust on it. For whatever reason, there's a speck of rust. Maybe there's a paint chip and then it starts to rust. If that car is not then taken care of, that rust spot or speck becomes a bigger area and then a bigger area, right? That it just keeps getting nasty. And eventually that car looks like no one's ever taken care of it. I mean, the bumper's falling off. It's so rusty. Imagine that now as your body. You have a little bit of oxidative stress, which is normal, and your body can help combat that. But all of a sudden now we have all this extra oxidative stress going on. And think about a muscle or a tendon or a piece of cartilage, and it starts to have that stress, and it's not getting repaired, and it's not getting repaired. And then you're working out harder. You're adding more stress to your body. You're going to practice. You're competing in the game, and it keeps going on and on and on. That little bit is now huge. And all of a sudden we have damaged muscles, damaged tendons, because the oxidative stress keeps happening. Well, obviously we want to prevent that. We want to do what we can do to minimize the oxidative stress aspect of things. So how do we do that? It's happening. We can't control it from happening. So how do we then counteract it? And we counteract oxidative stress by the foods that we eat. So this goes right back to that third thing that you can be controlling. And it's not just any food. You are not going to be able to combat it by eating processed foods or eating a lot of sugar. You're going to be able to combat that by eating plants, fruits, vegetables, berries, plants. That's how you go ahead and you reduce that damage. So I'm sure you've all heard of antioxidants. The antioxidants that you can find in all those dark berries that you hear all the time on television commercials, and you'll see it on advertisements for different foods. They talk about antioxidants. They occur naturally in the plants. So what I really just wanted you to focus on is that you have this incredible machine with all of these God-given talents that you have, and you are all working so hard to pursue your dream. It is 100% completely, you have to take care of your body by what you are eating and what you are putting into it. And the primary way that you are going to be able to stay healthy is by having a plant-rich diet. Now, as an athlete, you might be surprised when I tell you how many plants you actually need to eat in a day. The average adult that is not an athlete needs to be consuming 9 to 13 servings of raw fruits and vegetables every single day in a variety of colors. And I know you guys, I know that's not happening. It's almost impossible. Now add being a professional athlete, or any athlete for that matter. Instead of 7 to 13 servings, you're now looking at 17, 18, 19, upwards of 20 servings every single day of raw fruits and vegetables for your body to perform at its optimal level. And I'm going to guess that that is probably not something that you are currently able to do. Well, that's where we come into play. And we're going to talk just in just a second or two about a solution for that very problem. So think about that. Anywhere from 17 to 20 servings every single day of fruits and vegetables in its raw form on the schedule and the lifestyle that you have. Nearly impossible, I'm sure. So with that, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to ask Rachel Jones is going to actually speak to you. And as Megan mentioned in the very beginning, Rachel is a nutrition major as well as a fitness instructor. So Rachel, would you like to continue, please?
Yes, thank you, Sherry, for all of that information. I did not know before I got into nutrition that athletes needed that 17 to 20 servings of raw fruits and vegetables every single day. I know that I've probably never gotten that many in my diet without supplementing it. So we have partnered with a company that has whole food, fruit, vegetable, and berry products that kind of supplement your diet and help you get those servings of plants into your diet. So we have, or I guess everyone's heard of like macronutrition. Everyone wants to count their macros, their fats, their carbs, their proteins. So we have our macronutrition with our protein shakes and our protein bars. And then we also have our micronutrition, which is through our whole food, fruit, veggie, and berry capsules and gummies. So I'm going to talk about the products that we use specifically to combat that oxidative stress. So like I said, we have the capsules. We have fruit, vegetable, and berry capsules that have 30 different vine-ripened fruits, vegetables, and berries in them. They are picked at their peak of nutrition when they're the most nutrient dense. They're then put into a blender, kind of mixed up in this big slurry, dehydrated, the sugar's taken out of them, and then they're cooled at a cool temperature to keep those enzymes alive so that when you take them, you're still getting the enzymes and all of those nutrients. So we have those in capsule form and then also in gummy form. And they actually have a nutrition label. They don't have that supplement label. So you're not going to lose those nutrients in your urine or anything like that. You're not going to excrete it. It's absorbed through your bloodstream. It's just pure whole foods. So you can kind of be at peace with that, knowing that you're not getting anything synthetic, you're not putting anything synthetic into your body. They're all NSF certified. The berries are even NSF certified for sport. So I know all you athletes out there have to pay really close attention to what you're putting in your body. So seeing that NSF certification just kind of can put you at peace knowing that you're safe to take these products. And then we also have our protein shakes. They're chocolate and vanilla. They are completely vegan, gluten-free. They have around 20 different plants in them, things like mushroom powder, spirulina, broccoli sprout, quinoa, tons of nutrients that you're not or probably not going to get in your diet. So you get those in just an 8-ounce shake, which is amazing. They're delicious. And what sets them above any whey protein, dairy is a natural inflammatory on our body. So that can show up as acne or irritated joints or anything like that. Inflammation has a ton of different ways that it shows up in your body, but you definitely want to avoid that at all costs. So avoiding dairy and whey as much as you can is huge. So knowing that you can get a safe, vegan, NSF certified protein as a snack or a meal in a smoothie is so great, especially for athletes. And on the go, on the bus, you can throw it in a shaker bottle, and they're super delicious. I was never really into protein before I used these because I always thought they were kind of chalky and gross. But these are amazing, and just knowing that you're getting those 20 extra plants in your diet is so great. So those are the products that we have. We also have the protein bars. There's 2 different flavors, a chocolate fig, and then I think it's a cherry something. The chocolate ones are really good with almond butter on those, so you can eat those on the go, on the bus, while you're traveling. Super healthy and safe snack. So those are the products that we use to combat that oxidative stress in your body. I'm now going to ask that Colin, who is a professional athlete, he's a pitcher in the Kansas City Royals organization, and he has been taking Juice Plus for years now. So I'm going to ask that you please share your story.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my name's Colin, for those of you who may not know me. Like Rachel said, I'm a pitcher for the Royals organization. And I started taking Juice Plus about 5 years ago when my mom gave it to me in high school. And I didn't really think too much of it at first, just kind of took it because she said to, and it was there. But then like fast forward to college, we get introduced to more nutrition information at Vanderbilt in different ways and kind of seeing how other people eat, etc. And how it affects their body and their like kind of sickness throughout the season and all the practices out in the cold and stuff like that. And I started to kind of notice a change then. I was one of the guys that wasn't really getting sick. Body usually felt pretty good. So I just still at that time didn't really pay that much attention to like what it could be from, but I still took the Juice Plus regularly. And then, here we are, pro ball a year ago. And that's when I kind of like finally hit me that like, okay, like this nutrition stuff's for real. Playing as many games as we do, the travel that we do with it, there's a lot that can happen. And then just knowing that you can control the nutrition part of it out of all things kind of led me to make sure I was being more conscious of what I was putting in my body. I haven't had to go to the doctor in over a year. And then going through the season, you'll see guys rolling in just like sick as a dog some days after traveling because we'll get to a hotel at 4 a.m. And then just also too, I've become a little bit more conscious of trying to eat healthier, better options. It's not always easy, especially when you stop between a McDonald's and a gas station at 2 a.m. But this has kind of led me to be at least more conscious, even though I'm not perfect with it. And I've definitely noticed a change, especially in like my joints. I got to take care of primarily my elbow, my shoulder being a pitcher the most. And, so far I can feel less stress on it. Knock on wood. I just have to say that because, but yeah, taking Juice Plus it's become more serious for me. Now I take it and I tell my mom or whenever I need to get more of it. And then too, like when I'm craving, like, I don't know, like ice cream or something late at night, I've started to make like a smoothie bowl with the chocolate and peanut butter and all that stuff instead. So just finding small ways to kind of replace the unhealthier options that I used to go to. So that's my story.
Thank you, Colin. And I have to say, I kind of have a little thing for him because he is my son. So yes, I'm the one who started making him take Juice Plus 5 years ago. And I will say, and he didn't mention this, is that anytime in the last several years where he wasn't feeling well, just with the stress that comes with being a professional athlete or being a college athlete, not feeling good, the nice thing about this is you can take extra. So we had this little thing that we always say in our house is double up anytime you're not feeling well. So it's gotten to where instead of me telling him to double up, I'm getting the text message that say, I'm doubling up because I'm really tired or whatever happens to be the situation. So thank you, Colin. And Shelly, if you could please then share your experience also as a mom of another professional baseball player.
Oh, there it goes. It unmuted that time. Well, like Sherry said, I'm Shelly Jababi, and I have a son that is in professional baseball also. I actually had two at one time. A couple of years ago, Ryan was also a player. But the whole reason I got Ronnie in on Juice Plus was, I was always, as a parent of an athlete, and you're always hoping that they go to that next level of whatever sport they're in. I wanted to give him any edge that he could possibly have, that obviously is legal and whatnot. And, parents are always paying for lessons and travel teams and all this other stuff. But, nutrition plays a huge role too. So I thought, okay, well, this is probably a good idea. And Ronnie was going to be, at the time that he started it, he was in the fall to the prior spring that he was a hopeful MLB draft, player. And so he was going to be training hard and needed, good recovery after workout so that he could maximize those. And we definitely didn't want him, after training that hard, didn't want him getting sick, because that's what happens a lot of times with athletes, is that they train, and then their bodies are so worn out that then they get sick right before the big event or the big race or the, tryout or whatever. And we definitely didn't want that happening. So then, but we also didn't have, like unrealistic expectations. He doesn't become this superhuman person, but we did try to go against, you know, getting sick and, you know, not getting injured or having to recover after an injury to the best that he could. And as far as that sick part goes, he hasn't been, we've been on it for about 4 years, Sherry, something like that. And he has not, and I haven't, but all of us haven't, but he hasn't been sick in 4 years. And that's so huge, because when you do make it to that next level and you're in professional ball, there is always somebody who is, you know, coming right up behind you, and they're always looking for that opening to get in. Well, if you're out because you're, you know, you got the sniffles, or you're sick, or you're not feeling good, or you're, you know, just aching too bad or whatever, you know, that just opens up the door to somebody else. And not to say that that isn't going to happen and, oh, you know, it's over, you know, that kind of thing. But hey, you're trying to lessen those odds and lessen those happenings. And so that was another reason why, you know, he's so faithful, is because he doesn't want anybody else to get an opportunity. He wants it all. So that was huge, and that has played out to be a super huge win for taking Juice Plus. But probably the most obvious part of the recovery of an athlete is if you do get injured, if you haven't laid good groundwork cellular wise, you know, you aren't going to have your optimal recovery, because you don't have cells that have all this great healing capability. I mean, you do heal, we all heal. There's, you know, you can look around you and, you know, people get injured and whatnot, but you're talking about athletes who are always pushing that envelope, especially, is what we're talking about. And he did get injured from another, he was diving, he's an outfielder, and he had dove for a ball, but didn't call it because it was in that no man's land, that no man's zone, you know, and had hit the ground, was bouncing up, and the second baseman was also going back for it, and he fell on top of Ronnie's shoulder. So it looked like, there was an Instagram picture, and it looked like a football tackle, like a block with no pads, you know. So this 240-pound guy going into his right shoulder, well, it tore his labrum, and he ended up getting 5 screws put in. Well, that's a 10-month recovery period, 9 or 10 months. I can't remember exactly how long, but right around there. And where I'm going with this is that it's not like he's trying to, oh, I've taken Juice Plus and now I'm going to be ready to go in 3 months. I mean, that would be unrealistic. Plus, it wouldn't be wise, because, you know, you have an ultimate goal, which is to make it to the bigs. Well, if you're going to rush something that major, you know, you don't want to ruin that. But he tells me to this day, he can't even tell he injured his shoulder. Well, that's huge. You know, you got this major injury, surgery, 5 screws or whatever, and he can't tell he ever did anything to it. So we're real pleased about that. And when Rachel was talking about the inflammation that whey protein can have, well, he was also, because he was part of most of his recovery, he was in Arizona, but there was this one section of time that he did get to come home. And even when he was out in Arizona, but he was drinking his Juice Plus shakes, and they're all plant-based. That's not the whey stuff. Well, you know, you in that joint, he was getting, you know, no inflammation to deal with, other than, you know, just the recovery from the surgery. So I think that also played a huge role in that recovery. And then one last thing I wanted to tell you about Juice Plus is I was at an event that had Rebecca Soni, and there was another swimmer, Andrea Cookers, I think is the way you say her name. Anyway, but Rebecca is like a 6 gold medal Olympic swimmer. And there was a dad in the audience, and he was kind of prepping a question, because he was hoping that the answer would be the one that he wanted his daughter to hear, because she was a swimmer. And all he said was, shouldn't, or do you think that you know, somebody who's getting ready for their event should really focus and be quiet and, you know, not listen to music and not cut up and whatever, and just be really focused so that they, you know, can really perform their event well. And she said if listening to music or cutting up or whatever is relaxing and keeps them loose, she says, then they ought to be able to do it, which was totally the opposite of what we knew that dad was hoping to hear, you know. And the reason she said that, and she followed up with it, she said, because it's not the 10 minutes, it's not the 30 minutes, it's not the day of the event that matters. She says it's the week before, the month before, the year before. And, you know, the same can be said about nutrition. You don't just get bad health overnight. So we have just incorporated the Juice Plus as part of our healthy living and our eating of more fruits and vegetables. And it is amazing. I mean, I have 5 children and they're all athletes, and they will tell you how many more fruits and vegetables they eat today. And I really think, I mean, we always ate well, but it's like a whole nother level. It's really uncanny how the consciousness of what you're putting in your mouth, that Juice Plus, and knowing that it's fruits and vegetables. I mean, people that take multivitamins, you really think they take that and they think, oh, I just had a mineral and a vitamin of what's in an apple. You know, that just really isn't a thought process. But when you take Juice Plus, you know, oh, it's my fruits and my berries and whatever. And then you're thinking that it's just, it's been a huge win-win for us. So that's pretty much what I wanted to share tonight.
Thanks, Shelly. So thanks you guys for being on this call. It's just been great. So now that you have this information, I want you to think about this. Athletes work very, very hard to protect their exterior with helmets, protective eyewear, masks, shin guards, shoulder pads, like you name it, but they have all of these things to perform properly and to keep them protected on the outside. But if we aren't healthy on the inside, none of this matters. So I think you would all agree that to eat the recommended servings of fruits, veg, berries every day is difficult, if not impossible. So Juice Plus is your solution. Not only are you getting 30 to 45 plus plants, different plants, between fruits, veggies, berries, grains, and even you could throw in the omegas, which we did not get to tonight. But every day you could be ingesting that into your body. And it has the NSF stamp of approval, which all professional athletes know is a must. So after all the work that you have done for years to get to the level that you are today, don't you think it is time to fuel and protect your biggest asset so you can recover in order to prevent loss of playtime and ultimately to your biggest dreams? So we thank you guys so much for coming to this call tonight. And if you have any questions, you can get with the person who invited you to this call. And have a great Thursday.